Jake Paul's survival strategy against Anthony Joshua didn't just fail, it embarrassed him in front of millions watching on Netflix. Midway through the fourth round, referee Christopher Young had seen enough. Paul kept appearing to slip or throwing his body at the much larger Joshua, clearly trying to run the clock down and avoid actually fighting. The tactics were so obvious that boos from the Miami crowd grew louder with each passing second. Young paused the fight and delivered an expletive-laden warning that perfectly captured everyone's frustration. He shouted that the fans didn't pay to see this garbage, making clear that Paul's stalling wouldn't be tolerated. Even the announcers had to applaud Young's intervention, a rare moment when a referee became the hero by demanding actual combat. Paul's desperation was palpable. He knew he was overmatched from the opening bell, facing a legitimate heavyweight champion with Olympic gold and championship pedigree. So instead of fighting with dignity, he resorted to theatrics, flopping and stumbling in ways that looked more like soccer dives than boxing strategy. The Miami crowd paid significant money expecting competitive action between a social media star who'd carefully built his boxing career and a genuine elite heavyweight. What they got instead was Paul running, holding, and pretending to slip every time Joshua got close enough to land meaningful punches. Young's warning didn't change the inevitable outcome. Joshua dropped Paul twice in the fifth round, leaving him wobbled and hanging on desperately. The end came in the sixth, when Joshua landed a devastating punch that Paul later claimed broke his jaw. Paul hit the canvas for good, and the referee waved off the fight. That knockout was exactly what most fans paid to see. Not the stalling, not the theatrics, but a legitimate heavyweight showing the difference between levels in professional boxing. Joshua proved what everyone suspected, that Paul's carefully constructed record against aging legends and past their prime champions wouldn't hold up against current elite competition. Paul's claim about a broken jaw might be true, but it also sounds like excuse-making. Fighters suffer injuries in the ring all the time and keep fighting through them. Mentioning it immediately after getting knocked out feels like deflecting from the reality that he was simply outclassed. The strategy Paul employed revealed his awareness that he couldn't win straight up. Instead of accepting defeat with dignity, he chose to frustrate the crowd and embarrass himself. Young's intervention saved the fight from becoming unwatchable, forcing Paul to at least pretend to engage before Joshua inevitably finished him. This loss fundamentally changes Paul's boxing trajectory. He can no longer claim he's a legitimate contender who just needs the right opportunity. Joshua exposed him as someone who doesn't belong in the ring with actual elite heavyweights, regardless of how many millions of followers he has on social media. The Netflix platform brought massive global attention to this mismatch, meaning Paul's stalling tactics and eventual knockout were witnessed by audiences far beyond traditional boxing fans. That exposure cuts both ways. It brought attention to the sport, but also highlighted the absurdity of matching a social media personality against legitimate championship-level competition. Paul's record now stands at 12 wins and 2 losses, but the losses tell the real story. Tommy Fury outpointed him in a competitive fight. Joshua destroyed him when he stepped up in weight and competition level. The gap between carefully selected opponents and actual elite fighters proved insurmountable. The referee's profanity-laced warning will likely become one of the most memorable moments from this fight, capturing the collective frustration of everyone watching Paul's desperation tactics. Sometimes referees have to protect the sport itself, not just the fighters.